Hi guys, I'm Megan Graham. So I'm coming on to tell you how I heal from mold illness. So this may not pertain to all of you guys, and you can kind of pick and choose which of these things you might want to try out yourself. And of course, consult your doctor, look into these things. I am not a doctor. I'm just telling you what I personally do to recover from mold illness. The biggest thing that I would say that I've learned in this entire experience, because I think the first thing for me was just even understanding that I could possibly have become sick from something that I couldn't even see. I was living in a luxury apartment and I just couldn't understand that I could possibly have been sick from mold. I'm such a young and healthy person, and it was hard to wrap my brain around. So I also had to have an open mind for some of these different things that I do, because they are not necessarily things that I knew about growing up. They were not traditionally presented to me, and I had to do a lot of research to find them. They have made such a big difference for me. So I'm just going to share them for you. And there's a lot of layers for different things that I do, but my body was affected in a lot of different ways. So I will do whatever it takes to get better and to be back to my best self so that these little babies can have a mom that has lots of energy and my husband can have a wife that pays attention to him and is fun and is present and feels good. The first thing I want to tell you is that I've been working on this for quite a while and doing a lot of things. I feel like I have made most of my progress starting in April. So I've been healing for 4 years, but making really, really slow recovery. But since April, I've been making a really fast recovery. Okay, guys, so number one, the thing that I've been doing that has been really increasing the speed of my progress is that I have been taking products by Microbe Formulas. So if you look online, Microbe Formulas initially, I'll just be honest, my first reaction was that it looked too good to be true. And there are so many nutraceuticals out there that are all claiming these amazing things. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's probably just another company that is, claiming too much and it's not really going to do anything. Boy, was I surprised. So they have a protocol, and at first I was just picking and choosing, and I thought I could just do the products out of order because that protocol looked really, really long to me. But I wound up backing up and actually starting at square one with the protocol and going pretty slowly with it. And it has changed everything so very much. So although it looks expensive, and it is expensive, it is, at least to me, it is completely worth it because there really is no price that I can put on feeling like I have the energy to go out to dinner at 6 p.m., to take my babies for a walk, to genuinely smile at my husband and to feel good. The products have made such a big difference. It does take a little bit of time to, like for me, I have to have them organized in my little pill box and things like that. But they're the real deal. They really do what they say. And not only do I love the products, but I go on their site and there's a Learn tab on their site. And the doctors do a lot of different, the doctors that created the microbe and cell core formulas go on and they do a lot of education on there. So I've really been able to understand the why, the how, and for me at least, when I understand why I'm doing something, I'm just so much more motivated to stick with it. So that product line has been incredibly life-changing for me. I don't think I would be getting better as quickly as I am without it. And it is a huge and integral part of my recovery, which is why I am listing it first. If you decide to look into it, I really recommend starting at the first phase. It looks like it's really boring. It's like, oh, it's about drainage. What is that? Why do I need it? I think most people need to improve the drainage in their bodies. They have no idea about it, and it's not something that's talked about, but it makes a huge, huge difference. Second thing that I do that makes a tremendous difference is I have an infrared sauna. I use the Therasage infrared sauna, and before I get into the sauna, I actually so this is from Cellcore. There's another sister product that's almost just like it in Microbe. This is the biotoxin binder. Before I get into my sauna, I take one of these with a big glass of water, and then I use my sauna to actually sweat out the toxins. And then I take another one of these. So I'm using this to mop up any toxins that are produced when I'm in my sauna. So for those of you guys that don't know, an infrared sauna goes really deep and it actually breaks up toxins that are in your cells, in your fat cells, if you will. And instead of having to stress out your kidneys and your liver by getting them out that way, you're able to get them out through your skin, which is of course your largest organ. After I sauna, I always hop into the shower because of course I don't want my skin to reabsorb the toxins. But not only is the sauna great for detoxifying, it's also really relaxing for me. I have a pretty high stress job. It helps with that. It's a great thing that I love to do, but my sauna makes a big difference. And the reason that I like having it in my house is that it's something that I want to do 4 times a week. So going to, there's a cryo spa really close to where I live. It's $50 a session, and I can't hop right into the shower right after. It would be tough to take my activated charcoal. So yes, it was an investment, and I do invest in my health, but I can honestly say that it's really easy for me to use. For instance, tonight I've got a Zoom call scheduled where I'm going to talk to my mom. We try to talk pretty frequently. And then right after, I will hop in my sauna, then get in the shower, and then I can just drift off to sleep like a super relaxed person. So I'm excited about that. So number 3 is regular gentle exercise. So as you're detoxing from anything, you sometimes have days where you feel just not that well. You can tell that your body is a little bit overwhelmed from things. Maybe you get some bloating, maybe you get a headache. Once you've been doing it for a while, you start to recognize that there are certain days where you feel a little bit overloaded. When I was first doing this, I would go and just want to lay in my bed or lay on the couch and just lay around. And as I learned more and more, I learned that one of the things that I needed to do was actually to move to get my lymphatic system working, because your lymphatic system is responsible for helping you to get those toxins out. And if you lay around, it's a lot harder to get them out. So regardless of how I'm feeling, I always do some gentle exercise, be it taking a walk or doing like a light weight workout or something like that. But movement is super important for healing and detoxification. Okay, so guys, I know most of you are not going to go out and get this, but number 4 is that I actually use it's a electromagnetic mat. So it's called PEMF, and it is pulsed electromagnetic frequency. When I first heard about this, I actually heard about it from my husband's golf partner who rehabilitates golfers. And he told me about this mat that he has. He had me lay on it, and I was so skeptical. I was like, that's just hocus pocus. It doesn't work. And I didn't do it for a while, but when I got really sick from my mold exposure, I asked him to bring it back, and I asked him to bring it back once a day for a week. And when I did it consistently, I noticed a huge change. I noticed I was able to sleep much better. I felt more relaxed. There was a huge difference. The one thing that I will say about my PEMF mat, so I use the Bemer Mat, and I'm just going to put it out there. It's a very expensive mat, and I'm shocked that I bought it, but it made such a big difference. The one thing that I want to say is that in their directions, they advise people to sleep on the mat. And when I have slept on my mat, I've actually had really bad results. So when I do it morning and night for short periods of time, which is about, I think, 8 minutes, that is perfect for me, and it makes me feel great. What I did not understand initially is that the mat actually helps you to deeply detox. And for people that are detoxing, it's usually best to do it a little bit more slowly and gradually. If you do it too quickly, you can have a Herx reaction. For me, what a Herx reaction looks like, I get a terrible headache. Sometimes my body aches. I feel super tired. I feel nauseous. This is just my gut feeling, but I believe when I'm getting a Herx reaction, I am actually overwhelming my kidneys by pulling things out. I can't tell you exactly why it's happening, but I can tell you that my body is uncomfortable when I do it. So my only little advice, if you do go out and purchase something like that, is really start slowly, because if you are in the process of healing, you need to respect your body and know that you can't speed it along. But I do use my mat twice a day. It helps me with my blood circulation. It just helps me to feel my best. I even packed it up and took it with me to Hawaii on my honeymoon instead of taking a carry-on. So I love my mat. Or I mean, that was my carry-on. Most people would pack clothes. I packed my pulsed electromagnetic frequency mat, and again, it's called the Bemer Mat. Okay, so number 5 is that you might want to research something called the vagus nerve. If you are healing from something, one important thing to think about is that healing is not only physical, your mind is really connected to your body. And if you're in a particular pattern of feeling unwell or your body has learned particular patterns, you actually need to retrain your body for a different pattern of healing. This one is something that I've actually just started. It took me so long to wrap my brain around the fact that my brain could also be incredibly responsible for whether I got well or not. I'm listening to an amazing audiobook right now about it, and the power of the vagus nerve is really, really, it's just so important. It has a lot to do with fight or flight syndrome and stress and things like that. So it might be something worth looking into. Pick and choose and see what really resonates with you and what you feel ready for. Okay, so guys, please don't even go by the order for whether these are important or not. Number 6, air filters. I have air filters all over my home. So I have 3 Rabbit air filters, and then I have a super heavy duty IQ Air multigas in my bedroom. I will just say that the IQ Air multigas is not that great looking. Sorry, IQ Air. It's like a behemoth thing. That thing is more powerful than all of my Rabbit Airs combined. It doesn't look as good, but it works so well. And then right next to my bed, I have something called an IQ Atom. It's almost like a personal desk filter. It's something that people could use at their offices and always have fresh air pointed at them. I travel with that one. If I'm going to be in a hotel room, I take that with me. It's really, who are you looking at over there? It's really portable. Hi, you're a good boy. And I absolutely love it. If you're healing from something, you've got to filter your air, and you have to make sure it's a great filter. If I were going to say which filter to buy, I would say just get the IQ Air. I like my Rabbit Airs. I think they work well. I love how they look. So I love it for my living room and things like that, because I don't know if you can see, but I do care about how my living room looks. But the IQ Air multigas is unreal. It works so well. Okay, guys. So if you have any humidity in your home that is too high, you're going to be producing mold, and that is an issue. So I am running a dehumidifier in my home at all times during the warmer seasons. Obviously, during the winter time, I'm not going to need to run a dehumidifier, but I was checking the humidity levels, and they were hanging out around 55% this summer, and that is exactly where mold grows. So I also run a dehumidifier to keep things as healthy as I possibly can. Number 8 is to use a water filter. And as far as the water filter that you're going to be using, I'm not trying to knock the traditional ones like Brita and Pure and things like that. For me, they're not strong enough. Those are not my choices. So initially I was using the Berkey water filter, and I love my Berkey. I think Berkey is great. I think it's one of the best water filters you could possibly use. After listening to the doctors on Microbe Formulas on their, I think they do like a Facebook Live, they talked about the fact that they actually, one of them filters with the Berkey to get most things out and then puts it into a distiller after. After that, they remineralize it. Now, I know that this is a lot, and I was really hesitant to get the distiller because it's expensive and it sits on my counter and it's one more thing that I have to buy. But I also feel like there's only a few different things that are really meant to sustain our body and feed our cells, and water is one of the most important things. Unfortunately, at this point, there's so much stuff that winds up in our water, and what is passable by government standards may not be good enough for your body. So that has made a tremendous difference for me. Obviously, I know most people are not going to do that, but if you have done everything that you can and you are still not at 100%, it might be something that's worth considering. I use, I believe it's the Pure I think it's a pure water distiller. I will look and I'm going to link to these items in my description below so you guys can see the things that I'm really using. I really like the distiller that I got. I think that the water tastes amazing. It's one of those things. It takes me a few minutes to do all of these things and to take care of myself. But what's more important than water? I will say for my pets, I give them water from the Berkey. I probably should give them water from the distiller as well, but I haven't quite gotten there yet. I still feel like the Berkey is pretty awesome. So you have to have a good water filter, and you need to make sure that you're scrubbing it out and taking care of it properly so that it can be nice and clean so your water is great quality. So number 9 is remediate. So if, at one point I was living in an apartment and it had a mold problem, and unfortunately you can't always figure out how to get out immediately. I wish that it was really easy to leave a moldy place and go to another place, but from stories that I've heard of other people that have had this same thing happen, a lot of times people rush out of one apartment and then they get into another apartment. Lo and behold, they find out that that apartment has a mold problem as well. Mold is not as uncommon as you would think. So just rushing out from one apartment and thinking you're going to avoid it by going into another one is unfortunately probably not the smartest thing you could do, because it's got to be in at least 50% of places. When Jeff and I, that's my husband, when we were looking for a place to buy, my hearing got really, really sensitive. So when I would go into moldy places, my hearing, it was actually such a gift, but my hearing would go partially just out. Kind of like when you're on a plane and your ears become blocked. My ears would get blocked when I went into moldy places. And there were so many places in Boston that were well over $1 million, that's another story. It's really shocking how expensive Boston is, but that's another story. They were really expensive and they were disgusting and moldy. So just because it looks good doesn't mean it's good. So if you do have a mold problem, finding a good quality remediator can be really helpful. That's what I did in my apartment because I had to stay there for quite a while before we moved out. And then same thing in this place. So I had it tested and then I had a different company come and remediate it. I had the ducts cleaned and they were disgusting. There was so much stuff in them that, there was drywall and holes in the ductwork and things like that. So things I had to get fixed. But when I was cleaning and I got close to the bathroom ceiling, my ear did the same thing and I felt some ear pain. So there was also a water bubble, so I knew there had been some damage. Anyway, I had them rip out the ceiling and you guessed it, it was full of mold, and it's because whoever had done the work as a contractor had not vented the bathroom fan properly. So we had to completely remediate it. It's perfect now and it's totally livable, but just know that if something needs to be fixed, it does not behoove you to leave it broken. Even a little bit of mold can make you sick. So if you know it's there, just fix it. It's less to remediate mold than it is to pay hospital bills when you get a chronic illness from inflammation. So take care of your health and fix water damage problems, fix mold. It will be so much better for you. Okay, so guys, this is number 10, and this really resonates with me because somebody was asking me what they could do if they were living in an apartment that had mold and they couldn't leave yet. I was working with a pretty well-known architect who deals with how to avoid mold and how to fix mold. And when I told her that I was in my apartment and that I just couldn't leave right away, she told me about something that you can do, which is to diffuse essential oils to kill the mold. So if you look up Edward Close mold protocol on the internet, you'll see that there is a mold protocol, and basically you take, I don't know if you've ever seen Thieves oils, so I have a lisp, so it's Thieves, Thieves oils, and they have a special diffuser that they recommend, and when you are not at your home, you can diffuse these oils for 24 to 48 hours. I think you need a diffuser per 1,000 square feet that you have. So anyway, I did this in my old apartment and I went from sneezing about probably like 20 to 30 times a morning to not sneezing at all in the morning, to tolerating my apartment a lot better. This is something that I had to do consistently to keep up the results, but it just made it, between that, my air filter, and also cleaning with a really good vacuum that had a HEPA filter, I was able to stay in my apartment longer than I ever would have been able to stay. I think I was also just glad to get out of that apartment because there was just this feeling of this is the place that made me sick and I just want to leave. So I will say that towards the end, the reason that I really needed to get out of that apartment was, yes, there were problems with the building for sure, and it had made me sick. I was just putting two and two together, and it had such a negative connotation that I just really wanted to get out. These are the 10 things that made a huge difference for me and that I do in my daily life. It's a lot of stuff, and I will say that a lot of my day is sometimes taken up by doing things to take care of myself. At the same time, I really care about my body and I care about my health, and this was my first experience ever feeling unwell in my life. And I think that when you have that experience of feeling unwell, you want to do whatever you can within reason to get better. And these things have been really effective for me. They have not been inexpensive, and they have not been something that they take a lot of time. So they've been expensive and they take a lot of time, but you know what? It's been worth it because they work. So I'm only listing the things that for me made a tremendous, tremendous difference, and they were so amazing. So I would love it if you guys would comment below and just let me know, have you tried any of these things that I was talking about? Are you curious, or do you have any questions about them? And just let me know if there's anything I can answer for you. I always really enjoy talking to you guys. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so, and let me know what you think about this video. Thanks, guys. Stay healthy, stay beautiful, and do everything that you can to make yourself your very best.